Worldly wisdom is different than the wisdom that comes from above. The wisdom that comes from above, the wisdom that comes from God, is often not easy in this life. It's not easy in this life because it doesn't produce immediate results. Oftentimes, the wisdom that comes from above does not give you an immediate reward. No one's giving you a pat on the back for your wisdom that comes from above. And oftentimes, it's a lot harder than what the earth would consider wisdom, what people of this world would consider wisdom. But what God says is that this wisdom that comes from above is far better than anything else. Now, on the other hand, worldly wisdom can be an easier kind of wisdom. An easier kind of wisdom because it is often expedient. It often gets results, and what our sinful nature loves about it is a lot of time this worldly wisdom is self-serving. It aligns with what makes things easier, more comfortable, and more expedient for me. But God says there's a difference between worldly wisdom and wisdom that comes from above. One takes God into account and the other does not. One is short-sighted and the other takes an eternal perspective. Maybe you've heard someone use this phrase before when they're talking about someone who's really wise and who is a master at seeing the big picture. They'll say this guy is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Checkers is a more simplistic game. It kind of pays attention to what's happening right here and right now. At the most, you may be thinking one or two moves in advance. If someone's really good at chess, though, they're thinking multiple moves in advance. They're anticipating what's going to happen from their opponent, and they themselves are reacting accordingly and planning ahead. They're seeing the big picture. If somebody has wisdom that comes from the earth, they're seeing things in a way that it's kind of like checkers. They're reacting in the here and now. They're making decisions that will only have a lifespan of maybe 80 years, if that's how long a person happens to live, maybe at most 100 or 110 years. But someone who is putting into practice wisdom that comes from God may not see an immediate benefit to that wisdom, but they will see a benefit that lasts on to eternity. They're playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. They see the big picture, that there's more to this life than this life, that God has prepared for us a life after this one in heaven, and they're living their life now with that eternal perspective. That is wisdom that comes from above, and that takes form in several different ways. James says this in James chapter 3, verse 17 and 18. But the wisdom that comes from above is first pure, then also peaceful, gentle, reasonable, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who practice peace. Seek after the wisdom that comes from above, and you'll be playing chess and not just checkers.